You wake up hot, not warm, hot. Your skin feels wrong, your mouth is dry. Your head pounds with every heartbeat, the cave wall seems to move when you look at it. Someone touches your forehead and pulls their hand away, you are burning. Today, a fever might mean a thermometer, a glass of water, a tablet, a clinic, or a doctor. But in the ancient world, there was no thermometer, no pharmacy, no antibiotics, no emergency room. No one could tell you whether this was a small infection, a deadly disease, a wound turning bad, or something your body might survive by morning, so the question becomes frightening. Could ancient humans survive a fever? The answer is yes, sometimes. But a fever was never just a fever, it was a warning sign. It meant something inside the body had changed. It could come from infection, it could come from an inflamed wound. It could follow contaminated food, dirty water, insect bites, childbirth, a tooth problem, or a sickness moving through the group. Modern medicine describes fever as the body raising its internal temperature set point, often because the immune system is responding to infection or inflammation. In simple words, the body turns up the heat because something is wrong. That heat can help fight some invaders, but it also costs energy. It steals water. It weakens muscles. It can confuse the mind. And if the cause is serious, the fever is only the smoke. The real fire may be hidden inside. Ancient humans did not know the word immune system. They did not know bacteria or viruses, but they knew the pattern. A person who was hot, shaking, weak, thirsty, and unable to walk was in danger. They knew some people slept and recovered. They knew others became worse. They knew some fevers came after a wound, some after bad food, some after insect bites, some after travel to a wet place, some after being near another sick person. They did not need a microscope to recognize that fever changed the rules of survival. The first danger was water. A fever makes the body lose fluid. Sweating, fast breathing, vomiting, or diarrhea can make the danger worse. For a modern person, dehydration may mean reaching for a bottle. For an ancient person, water had to be found, carried, protected, and sometimes judged for safety. A sick person might not be able to walk to the stream. They might not be able to sit up. They might not be able to drink enough without help, so survival could depend on someone else. Someone had to bring water. Someone had to hold a container. Someone had to decide whether the group could stay near a water source or had to move. This is the first important twist. A fever was not only a medical problem, it was a group problem. The second danger was heat and cold at the same time. Fever can make a body feel freezing while it is actually hot. The sick person shivers, they want to curl up. They may ask for warmth, but too much heat can make the body struggle. Ancient caregivers could not measure temperature, but they could observe. They could move someone into shade. They could remove heavy covers. They could keep a person away from cold wind. They could use damp cloth, wet leaves, or cool water when available. They could let the sick person rest near fire, but not too close. This was not modern medicine, but it was care, and care can matter. The third danger was movement. Ancient life required movement. Groups had to find food, follow animals, collect plants, carry children, avoid danger. Move with seasons. A fever breaks that rhythm. One sick adult could slow everyone. A sick child could stop travel completely. An elder with fever might need protection. If the group stayed, food might run low. If the group moved, the sick person might die on the way. Every fever created a decision: wait, carry. Leave later. Split the group, send a few people for food. Move camp slowly, stay near water. In the ancient world, sickness turned the landscape into a negotiation. This is why social care matters in human evolution. Researchers have argued that care for ill and injured individuals has deep roots, including among Neanderthals, where some individuals survived serious injuries or illnesses long enough that others likely helped them. The famous Shanidar 1 Neanderthal, for example, lived with major impairments, including injuries that would have made life difficult. Scientists debate details, but the broader point is powerful. Survival was not always about the strongest individual. Sometimes it was about whether the group could keep a weaker person alive. A fever leaves fewer marks on bone than a broken arm. So we cannot usually point to one skeleton and say, this person had a fever here, but we can see a larger pattern. Human life has long included injury, illness, dependence, recovery, and care. No ancient group could save everyone, but some groups could save some people, some of the time. That may have changed who survived long enough to teach, hunt again, gather again, care for children, and remember danger. The fourth danger was the cause of the fever. This is where the question becomes more serious. A short fever from a minor infection might pass. A fever from a poison wound might not. A fever with vomiting could drain the body. A fever with cough could spread. A fever after childbirth could become deadly. A fever after a bite or cut could mean infection moving deeper. Ancient humans did not have antibiotics. They could not diagnose sepsis. They could not test blood. They could not identify malaria, influenza, plague, salmonella, or any other disease by modern names, but pathogens are ancient. Research on the origins of human infectious diseases notes that hunter-gatherer populations have suffered from infectious diseases similar to those of other wild primates for a very long time, while some major crowd diseases became more important after agriculture and dense settlements. That means ancient small groups may have avoided some epidemic risks of later villages and cities, but they did not avoid sickness itself. They still lived with parasites, wounds, insects, animal contact, contaminated food, and natural water. A fever could be rare in one season and common in another. It could strike one person or several. It could pass quickly or destroy a camp. And when no one understood the invisible cause, people had to respond to what they could see. Heat, weakness, thirst, shivering, pain, delirium. The fifth danger was the mind. High fever can make a person confused. They may see things. They may speak strangely. They may not recognize people. They may wander. They may refuse water. They may panic. In a modern room, confusion is frightening. In the wild, it can be fatal. A feverish person could walk into darkness, fall near water. Disturb the fire, attract danger, or simply use up energy their body did not have. So someone had to watch them. This is another reason fever was social. A sick person needed eyes, not just herbs. Not just water. Eyes. A child with fever needed someone awake at night. An adult with fever needed someone to notice if breathing changed. An elder with fever needed someone to keep them warm enough, cool enough, and close enough to camp. This kind of care is easy to underestimate because it leaves little archaeological trace. But it may have been one of the oldest human technologies, not stone, not fire. Attention. Of course, ancient people may have used plants, smoke, bathing, rest, special foods, or other treatments, depending on place and tradition. Some plants can affect pain, inflammation, stomach problems, or infection risk. But we must be careful. We cannot assume every group knew every useful plant. We cannot turn ancient healers into modern doctors with leads. Knowledge was local. Some remedies helped, some did nothing. Some may have harmed. The safest thing to say is this: ancient humans experimented, remembered, taught, and used what their environment offered. Their medicine was not modern, but it was not nothing. The counterintuitive part is that surviving a fever may have depended less on one magic treatment and more on basic support: water, rest, shade, warmth, cooling, protection, food when possible, clean enough surroundings, time, and people who did not abandon you too soon. A fever steals your ability to survive alone. It makes the group your body's backup system. Someone carries water because you cannot. Someone feeds the fire because you cannot. Someone keeps insects away because you cannot. Someone watches the child because you cannot. Someone delays travel because your body needs one more day. That does not mean ancient groups were always kind. Hard environments create hard choices. If food was gone, if enemies were near, if winter was closing in, if several people were sick, a group might not be able to wait. Care has a cost, but the existence at cost makes care more meaningful, not less. So could ancient humans survive a fever? Yes, if the cause was not too severe. If water was available, if the body was strong enough, if the fever broke in time. If the group could protect and support the sick person, but fever could also kill. Not because ancient humans were weak, because fever was a doorway into many dangers. Dehydration, infection, delirium, cold exposure, exhaustion, hunger, and the terrible uncertainty of not knowing what was happening inside the body. Imagine yourself again. You are lying near the fire. Your skin burns, your teeth chatter, your throat is dry. Outside, the group is deciding whether to move tomorrow. Someone brings water, someone shades your face, someone listens to your breathing, someone tells the child to be quiet. The night is long, there is no cure in a bottle. No name for your disease, no promise that morning will save you. But you are not alone, and sometimes, in the ancient world, that may have been the difference between a fever that ended a life and a fever someone lived long enough to remember. If you enjoyed this journey into the distant past, subscribe for more stories about ancient humans and human evolution.